Okay, welcome to another episode of Black Space Project. I have some new information, a little something I've been experimenting with, and some new information. A little something I've been experimenting with, and some new information. Okay, one of the videos that I've been meaning to make is going to touch on. I'm going to touch on a little bit of something I'm about to say in the new video. Um, I don't have the receiving capability right now. Of course, I think all I have to do is just download a new app to do exactly what I'm going to show you or what I'm going to tell you to do. You can easily find the app first off, if you look for it. But here's the information that I've been experimenting with a little bit lately about the SMDs. Yes, I'm going to cover this for quite a little bit of time because I do feel like it's an important thing to know since I seem to be the only person that's describing it in such a way. There are other people on the internet that are catching these things on security camera. If you check out my playlist, Invisible Drones, and it's entitled Little Something Else, etc., you'll see if you just check the playlist, there are people that have captured this with a infrared night vision security camera. Security cameras that are capable of seeing night vision, seeing in the dark. So, what I want to touch on, and I've been theorizing and I've been playing it over in my head over and over, the sound effect that people are hearing, which they think is in their head, but it's not. And I'm talking about tendonitis. I'm sure a lot of people are, quote unquote, maybe suffering from this or experiencing this. And I have strong belief, and there's a video on YouTube that describes that it's not what you think it is. It's not in your head. It is an actual sound that's in the air, in the atmosphere. It's being produced by something. And of course, my theory is that it's coming from the SMDs, the Sandman drones. That's what I call them. Other people call them orbs, light beings, which all pretty much, in my opinion, identify as being the same thing. But because I've described the effects of what this SMD does, I'm calling it an SMD, a drone, a Sandman drone, because it's uncertain as to the nature of its makeup or who made it. If it's something I'm almost crossing out all the X's on the possibility that man made it, because there's evidence that suggests by people's comments and what I've experienced throughout my life, going back when I can remember being affected by something I didn't understand or even knew that I was affected. But now, what did I put two and two together later on in life? I figure out it was going on then. There are some people that are commenting online that they've experienced this all the way back into their childhood. And I'm talking people that are in their 50s, 60s, and 70 years old. So it seems like that this SMD has been around for a very long time. The term that I dub as Sandman drone actually comes from a song from back in the 60s. There is a Star Trek episode from back in the 60s which describes the Sandman drone as a device that came from space, and that it has pretty much in the Star Trek episode the same abilities that I've been describing. And I did not see this particular Star Trek episode from the 60s until after I started putting my two and two together of what I've experienced and what I call it. Well, what I call it was because of the song, not because of the Star Trek episode, but it all coincides together. Because some of the things, I was blown away. Some of the same things that they showed on the Star Trek were some of the same things that I've come to know that this thing does. So let me get to the point. I've been experimenting with some frequencies. I believe that the SMDs are broadcasting this tendonitis type of frequency that we're hearing. Sometimes you may not hear it at all. Sometimes it may start off very low. Other times it's excruciating and loud, especially if you're trying to go to sleep at night. The frequencies I've been experimenting with are very high-pitched frequencies. One frequency in particular that I recently tried to experiment with to see what happens, and this is with an app that you download from your Google Play Store. It's a frequency generator. Um, the one that I chose it has a black banner and it has HZ written on it. That's the one I downloaded. That's the one that allows you to select frequencies and play them on your phone. So I've been experimenting with these frequencies, and one of the frequencies that I'm experimenting with right now is 11,942 hertz, 0.00. I just experimented with that frequency to see if it would have some type of effect, a counter effect. I think it does. What I noticed was I did feel the presence of the SMDs laser on my eye. And all of you that have watched my videos, without me having to go through a full explanation of that and try to convince you otherwise, I'm just going to say that. Watch the other videos, you'll understand. And I did notice it trying to make an effect, but because of the presence of that frequency, 11,924 hertz, 0.00, it seemed to counter the effect. It seemed to counter the effect of the SMD. And I've explained what the effects are. I did notice it, and my best way to describe it quickly for you is as if someone were to point a laser pointer at your eye. It can hurt, depending on how intense the SMD tries to focus its signal to make its effect more potent, or a bright flashlight being shined in your eye. I've explained that before. That's all I'm going to say, because I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail because it takes up too much time. So that frequency, I believe, and the effect was, I felt it, but it didn't give the knockout effect. It did not give the sleepy effect. That didn't happen. Maybe the SMD was not full powered. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't had a lot of time to experiment it. That's just a frequency that kind of came to me and I decided to use it. And it does seem to have somewhat of an effect, but anything that I tell you, don't completely bank on it. Don't completely trust in it and think that I'm going to be okay if I'm broadcasting 11,924 hertz on my phone while I'm driving. That's going to protect me. Don't do that. Don't fully trust that. It seems as though any information I've put out, somehow the SMD counters it, or any type of tactic that I spoke of or tell anyone about, it seems to be a counter move to it. As far as trickery, as far as its actions, when it does what it does, all those sorts of things. So this may happen too. I don't know. So take it with a grain of salt. It may work, it may not. By the time you watch this video and this information gets out. How that is, like I explained one time before, the SMD seems to be one step ahead. Seems to know what you're going to do before you do it. Seems to be very calculative, and that's that. Watch my other video. I think I explained that. Seems to know what you're about to do before you do it. And I also noticed before I turned the app on and played that frequency, before I did it, I did hear a change in the atmospheric sound, which sounds like tendonitis, to a lower pitch frequency, a lower pitch, high pitch frequency. The tendonitis frequency is within the 11,000 kilohertz band. The exact frequency I can't remember right now, but I know it's 11,000 something kilohertz. 11,000 something hertz. The exact frequency I'm not sure, but I've been toying around with the frequencies in between, up as high as 11,924 hertz, down to 11,000. What frequency was that? 11,854. And within that range. And when I did some scanning, when I held the button down on the app to scan through those frequencies, because you can push the button down, it'll scan through the frequencies. It'll go up or down and play it at the same time. There were certain biological effects that I felt. And I started to think, could this be a correlation between two type of sources of energy, one audible and the other light? And they work together to create a type of effect in your brain, which I think is a very good possibility. Now, I did state one time before that I believe this audible signal that we're hearing could be used for either communication or navigation purposes, like you know how you use sonar on a boat to see fish in the bottom of the at the bottom floor. I think that these SMDs could be using this type of frequency for navigation or communication, because you can listen sometimes, you can hear slight variations in the sound. I did describe a type of variation already in a previous video where you can almost hear like a Doppler effect when they were moving. And after I said that, everything changed. There's no longer that Doppler effect where you can actually sit and listen to one move and then stop. Sounds like a whistle that a coach would blow. Well, that's really a phase difference, a Doppler effect. But at one time, you could hear like a stationary, high-pitched noise, and then this Doppler effect speeding up and slowing down in a very precise manner and coming to a halt, resting back at that frequency. That doesn't do that anymore since I put that out. It's been slight variations in the signal, but not that anymore since I've said that. So makes me wonder, how is it that things are changing when I talk about certain things? So by the time you watch this video, what I'm telling you may change too. But we're going to figure this out. So I'll keep doing my research. You try that frequency, see what happens when it's convenient for you, but don't forget to have proper rest and some coffee. And just be mindful that, you know, whatever we or I come up with may not be a cure-all, fix-all. There are frequencies on here that counteract tendonitis that works very well. That's on YouTube. And when I played it out in the front yard with the phone sitting on top of the car, birds came from everywhere. And it's like they were happy. It's like it was a jungle all of a sudden. They just flew in from a certain direction. I think it was from the south up to where my house was, and just they were all in the trees and everything, and it was like a joyous jungle day. You know, they were chirping and everything, like they were happy, probably getting a break from all that noise that we're hearing, because it becomes very nerve-wracking. And I do believe that it has some type of physiological effect on the body, your organs, your mood, everything like that. So if producing frequencies, high-pitched frequencies within the same frequency range that we are hearing this can disrupt it, by all means, let's figure this out. I'm going to figure it out. 11,924 hertz. Download the app. Play with the frequencies. Find out what you come up with. Post some responses. Comment below. Don't be afraid to do that. This is something that we're figuring out, and this is a new realm that we're going into, new knowledge. Whatever you learn, share it with others. Whatever I learn, I'm going to share it with you, and we'll figure this thing out. It's time to stop with oh, that's not real, I don't believe in that. Well, you're listening to a box and watching a moving picture right now. That didn't happen 100 years ago, so stop with the BS. Anything that is possible with technology could exist. So keep that in mind, and watch for new videos. This has been the Black Space Project, Black Space Project North America. Thanks for watching.